pledge allegiance tonight as we start our meeting. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks for joining us tonight on this beautiful evening. We'll have Dawn do a roll call and get right to business.
Yep. Supervisor Al Titus.
Here.
Trustee Dwayne Hagel.
Here.
Clerk Dawn Beam here. Trustee Mark Baranowski.
Here.
Treasurer Mike Rushing.
Here.
All right, great. Everybody's here. No public hearing scheduled tonight. Do we have any guest speakers? I don't see Commissioner Rushing tonight. Any other guest speakers that we have maybe committed that spot on our agenda to? I don't see anyone here tonight. Don't know of anyone. So we'll move on. Are there any public comments, citizens wishing to address the board tonight? If there are, please state your name and try to be brief.
I'll address the board.
Sure.
My name is Dawn Sawicki-Jones, and I have some literature on the sand and gravel mine oversight preemption from Michigan Township Association. And I thought it's very important for you to think about that because we do have that in our township. So they're asking if you would go to the website that's on there and sign the petition to not have the local control leave us and go to the state. We need our local control here in our township for that.
I agree.
Yes.
There's been a lot of rumblings in Lansing about the state taking over control of all the mining pits. And of course that would mean ours and Riley as well.
I already went out and signed it, so I just want you to know that there is a place to sign, and there is also, they're asking if you make a resolution against the legislation that they're trying to pass.
Sure.
Now, is the petition just for us to sign, or can all
Anybody
residents?
can sign, so you might want to put that website out on this website, on our website, to be able to have other people sign and say, we don't want our local control lost.
Yeah, I think that would be a bad thing.
Yes.
For the state to control our local
I get,
mining operation.
because they have no feeling for what's going on in our local people.
Right.
They already lost control of their own stuff.
Every situation is different out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the gals that I work with a lot is Metamora Township, and she's the one that started pushing this in our area, so over there. But I signed it for this area because this is my home.
Yes. Thank
When
you,
do
Dawn.
they
Thank you,
want
Dawn.
when do they want the
The resolution?
yes.
Yeah, I don't know if that talks about that in this Township Insights. I didn't read it exactly to see when the date of the resolution, but they're asked. I think it's going to be considered pretty quickly, so I think it's probably something that would have to be done really fast if it's going to be done at all. But at least sign the petition to say we don't want as a person.
Get your petition signed.
Right.
Thank you, Dawn.
I did have one other thing.
Sure.
The taxable values and the inflation rate is going to change our millages, so there will probably not be a Headley rollback this year. So it's probably very important for you to look at that and ask your assessor if that's something that's going to happen here in the township because of the numbers and the way things fell. If that does, you probably are going to have a public hearing with a resolution for a Truth in Taxation Act of Michigan.
Okay.
So I just thought that's something to keep an eye on.
I'll question Steve about that.
Okay.
Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
Any other citizens here tonight wishing to address the board on any matter? If so, please stand, tell us your name, where you live, why you're here tonight. Okay, I'll take that as a no, and we'll move on our agenda. Approved consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda?
You want me to go through the list of
Yes,
the consent agenda items? We have the Riley Township Board meeting minutes from April. We have the treasurer report, the April accounts payable claims report, the April payroll report, April revenue and expense report. We have the annual ARPA compliance report that was filed, that was due April 30th. We have bond permit refund requests. There's check requests for 2 IT right invoices and correspondence and communications.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Is there a motion to approve that consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Mark makes the motion. Mike seconds. Any further discussion? If not, we'll let Dawn do a roll call vote.
Okay. Mark Baranowski,
Yes.
Mike Rushing,
Yes.
Dwayne Hagel,
Yes.
Dawn Beam, yes. Al Titus.
Yes. Motion carried. How about the regular meeting agenda? I think we have one addition anyway.
We actually have two.
Two,
So
okay.
the first addition to new business is the AYSO agreement. So that will be new business item number 1. And new business item number 2, I just received for charitable gaming license resolution for K-PAC classmates promoting future adults. I have the resolution pre-done here that that I'll read.
That's number 2,
Number 2,
under new business.
under new business.
Okay. Any other additions or changes tonight to our regular meeting agenda for May 9th? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and do a vote on that.
Well,
All in favor?
Someone needs to make the motion.
I'll make that motion with those additions.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Well, I'm getting synced here in a while tonight. I'll be all right. I'm still in that workshop, but I'll emerge from it pretty soon, I think. So we have a motion that's carried there to approve the regular meeting agenda with those 2 additions. How about township news and announcements tonight? We have the annual audit scheduled for July 19th. Richmond Lennox EMS station grand opening May 31st. And that's it on the announcements, I think.
I just had one quick announcement. Our ordinance enforcement officer, congratulating him on his on the arrival of his latest addition to their family last weekend.
Baby girl.
Baby
Not
girl.
boy. As I had said. All right, committee and departmental reports. Park and Recreation Committee.
Let me see, they did finally have a meeting. They did have election of officers. Chairperson is Beverly Halsack, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Vice Chair is Don Green and Secretary is Kathy Pilling. They did discuss the new playground area and possibly new equipment for that area. And discuss possible new fall festival date. They're thinking about maybe changing it, bumping it up a week or 2. And discuss memorial benches. I think that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Dwayne. Planning Commission, you're back on, Dwayne. He's a busy guy.
Let me see. We did have a public hearing. Renewed the annual mining permit. What else? Kimberly, the planning commission member, she discussed solar ordinance, and she will try and put something together for the planning commission. And I was supposed to ask the township board why the mining permit renewal is only good for 1 year. Why can't we do it like 2 or 3?
I believe it's in the ordinance that way,
Is it?
in the zoning ordinance.
It's always been every year.
Yeah.
It's part of the specific zoning ordinance.
I mean,
that's
can
in
it be
place.
changed or no?
Anything can be amended.
Anything can be amended, correct?
Yeah. We
So
can
you just
look
have to go
at it.
through the process of amending the zoning ordinance. So my thing would be to the planning commission is make the recommendation, what do you want to do? Bring it to the board, what your recommendation is, formally. And then if the board, agrees, then you would have to hold a public hearing for that amendment at the planning commission.
You got that, Doug?
So it's a problem with doing it every year versus every 3 years.
It's just, I don't know.
It's a lot of work for
It
them.
is. It's a lot of work for us and the owners.
Yeah.
But if there's any issues that may occur, 1 year, could mean a big difference between waiting a year or 2.
Right.
That would be my concern with that.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Dwayne. No zoning board of appeals meeting that I know of.
Nope.
And building department. We have a couple of performance bond extension requests there tonight. Would that be correct, Ron?
Yes, we do. We have 2 performance bond extensions that have submitted their applications. Thought it would be better to address these during this time period, so that way we can check with our building official on the status of these performance bonds. The first one is for performance bond 10004 at 1169 Calvin Road. They are requesting for a a bond extension. Fee has been paid for this. You have all the information of the history of this particular project.
Okay. What do we need, just a motion to extend that?
We need a motion to, yes, the board needs to approve that for a 6-month renewal, has been. I would like to, this particular instance has been an ongoing renewal process. Can I make a stipulation basically that this would be the last extension for this particular permit?
Sure.
Do we have a limitation on the extensions, or is it case by case?
Looking at the ordinance itself, I believe it's confusing, and I'd like to address that at another future meeting, take a closer look at that ordinance.
It is confusing, the language in it's confusing.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
generally 6 months at a time, but the way the wording is in the actual ordinance,
How many extensions have they had so far?
Oh, tons.
since 2012.
Do you know if this person is close?
He's here
Yeah, we're
tonight.
sitting right
They're here.
Oh, really?
They're actually here.
Are you close?
Mark and
Are we close?
Yes.
Yeah, we're right.
No,
Close
close to
to
finishing the
no,
project.
No,
Oh, close
yes,
to finishing, yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We only have to have our electrical inspection and our plumbing inspection on the inside, the final, okay?
Yeah, and then the final building.
We just gotta hook up some lights in 2 of the bedrooms, cause we haven't put the flooring down in those 2 bedrooms. And the only thing on the outside is our inspection on our decking, our final inspection on our deck. And,
Just a brick.
and then the stone on the corners of the house, the brick is all done.
Do you think you'll have
I
it
mean,
done in 6
we're on the
months?
finish line here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
but
6 months, would that,
I see, and that's the thing, we're not guaranteed to get everything done in 6 months because of,
Because
What?
he's the only one doing it.
yeah. I mean, most of it's just because we don't have the money to pay
right,
the labor for it. And so that's the dragging out part because,
Well, on top of it, like last year, we were trying to get our deck put on the back of the house. And it took us until almost till fall to find someone to actually do it.
even though we pulled the permits
And
and
then,
everything.
and then
for
they
it,
did it and, they only did to a certain point and then they stopped and had to pull off and go to another job, so it was up to him to finish it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
So,
dealing with now.
That was
The finish part.
that pressure.
But we've
yeah.
never stopped anything on this project. Everything, you know, we've had, I mean, if you look at the past, every 6 months, we've had some sort of one of the inspectors of this township in. You know, because we had the lower section done, and then we moved up the upper section, so it's like 2 different houses, but,
So you're living in the house right now?
yep,
Yeah.
yep, we have the full C of O for the lower half, so,
Yeah.
so it's just the final thing for the top. But we've never stopped the project, it never went stale, so that's why we kept, and, you know, extensions on it.
Well, the only issue I have with it, 10 years is a long time.
Right, yeah, well, you know, in 2008, 2010, everything went to crap, and, you know, so being small businesses, we can't just go out there and get a large loan. And even if we did, half the labor that you pay for it just doesn't work out half the time.
The building inspector's sitting there if you have any questions for him.
Yeah, oh yeah, and you know, and I had known, you know, I've been in contact with Doug all the time, so it's not that I disappeared or anything like that.
You got to know Doug real well.
Oh yeah, you know, we're like best friends
You
now.
guys are best friends over the past
You know, I got him on
10
speed
years,
dial.
huh?
Whenever I got a question.
Do you have him over for dinner at times, or?
I'm going to, you know, once I get this thing finished, so that we can see the
I
final.
guess my only concern would be is in 6 months, are we gonna be having the same conversation?
Well, I hope not, you know, I mean, the things we have, we should be able to finish.
Yeah.
You know, the hardest thing is the brick on the outside, you know, because the stone corners, and they're all 20 feet high, you know, and I got 7 of them.
And you have to break them with the
Yeah,
chisel,
they're not easy to do,
a
but,
chisel and a hammer.
You're the mason, aren't you?
yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah, so,
Okay. So you do have some control over that, of getting that
Yep.
done.
yeah.
Yes, but
yeah.
he still
You
has
got
to
the
work a
good
job
weather.
too,
Right.
like everybody else that
Yeah.
I'm sure sitting here.
And believe me, and we do it every weekend, you guys can come by our weekends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we get 2 days off a week that we,
so, you know, I just ask for a little bit of leniency, and, you know, if we gotta get other inspections, that's fine. The other thing that I did have a problem with though is that I didn't have a problem with paying the extra fees for an inspection or something, but because this thing's ongoing, now you guys are forcing me to pay for a whole new permit to get my final electrical, so I gotta pay for all that to get a final electrical. I've already paid for everything, I just need a final electrical, a final plumbing. I mean, I don't mind paying the extra $75 or whatever it is to extend it, but at the same time, I don't think that should get penalized to the extent of $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 for each one of these that I have to resubmit when everything's been done to the paperwork, other than if I have to pay for the extension, I'll pay for the extension, but I just, don't wanna pay for the full amount,
Well, once again, I'm just trying to make this crystal clear. In the last 10 years, how many times have you renewed this?
Well, bond was every year.
It was once a year, so, and I don't know why it's only 6 months now, but, it's usually a year.
Yeah.
They usually give us a year, and it used to only be $25, because we were told by Celeste and the other lady, I don't know what her name was, that we were grandfathered in, and apparently we weren't this year. But, yeah, so we had to pay $75, and, and nickel and diming us is making it a little harder to get things finished. And then, on top of it, now we have to put a fence up to keep the neighbor dogs out and our dogs in. So, because we already got one of our dogs trapped by a
Doug,
coyote.
did you want to comment on this, Doug, while we're
Once the
discussing?
permit expires, they gotta get a new permit.
There you go.
That's it. I mean,
We understand that.
whoever, you are the contractor, whoever pulled the permit, I mean, they gotta finish it up.
Right, oh yeah.
You have to pay you're gonna have to pay for that permit if they plowing out of it.
Permits only last so long.
Yeah, so, I mean.
Right, yeah, so it's
Once they
cash.
expire.
As far
You know,
as,
because you get the money to pull the permit, you get the guys in there to do the rough, and then you gotta get electrical, plumbing, everything in there before you can get the drywall in there, before you can get the final products in there. And each time you pay in, and you're trying to get more guys out there, so, I mean, we're on the finish line, so it's not that I'm trying to ask for another 2 years or 10 years, I'm just, we've been doing everything by cash.
Oh, believe me, I told them this is the final year. I'm done.
Yeah.
Done with this house.
Believe me, we don't wanna go through this kind
I
of stuff.
am putting my foot down. I'm
Good.
tired of working
Good,
on this
because he
house.
told us within 6 months he's gotta be done.
Yeah,
Just so
that's
you
what
know,
she
you
said.
weren't in on that meeting, but just so you know, Mark told us within 6 months he's gonna be done.
Yeah, my agreement, 6 months will be coming back if I'm not.
Well, we don't wanna hear
But
that.
yeah, no, and believe me, I'm not trying to string on anything either, and I wanna do everything, properly as I go, so I try to keep up with Doug and everything, so, I'm not trying to hide anything, and I've always told Doug if he needs to come by for a
Sure.
mid extension or a mid inspection, and I had to pay the extra $50 for it, or 75,
Yeah.
I would've done that, but I have no problem with that, because I want safety and everything.
Let me ask this, how much is the extension? 75?
Yeah, well, the bonds, each area is different. The bond extension is 75, and also the permit extension is also 75. And when we did get together, the permit is also expiring, so we do need you to renew the permit, but that doesn't have to be approved by the board, so.
That one, I gotta do
Yeah,
everything
because they're both expiring at the same time, so.
And then what's the cost of the new bond?
Well, we're still holding his bond.
Right, but I'm saying let's say in 6 months, it expires, we're not renewing it, he has to pull another one.
It gets forfeited.
Right, what would be the cost of a new one?
Oh, underneath the new fee schedule, I
Right.
believe it's double.
So,
Yeah, I'd have to look at the fee schedule, the current fee schedule that was just approved.
I'd just say that'd be a good motivator for you too.
Yeah.
Let's vote on doing a 6 month, this is the final. And after this, you have to pull new permit if you don't get done in 6 months. That sound fair?
No.
It doesn't sound fair to me, but I mean,
Fair to me.
you guys are the pushers, of this stuff, so,
Well, just,
we could how about if we just say 6 months, if I don't have adequate progress and Doug can come out and take another check, that we can say, because in 6 months, there's gonna be a lot more done, so, if we say, hey, look, you know what, this is the only thing we got left to do on the 6 months.
I think
Why
what's
did you
gonna
finish?
take the longest, seriously, is that stone on the corners of it.
Yeah.
Believe me, I'm kicking myself every day. I said we should have just did stupid block on the corners. But it's gonna take a while, cause I mean, we tried to buy a machine that would help them crack it, but it's not, and you, I mean, last year, we fought, my mother-in-law died. We had the whole year trying to unravel her life. The year before, Mark fell 10 feet off of the scaffold at the house. He had a hard time getting around for a little bit. So,
That's
you
one thing to
know,
walk away from that one.
yeah, so,
But-
you know, it slowed down things a little bit, you know?
Not to mention COVID.
Well,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, all these things have really slowed us down the last
Yeah,
couple of
these
years.
last 4 years have been
But if you look at
really
the
a lot.
big picture and what we've accomplished in the last 4 years, you know, as far as everything, you know, then, you know, it's, I mean, you're trying to put a, you know, a large house and pay cash for it all at the same time. I mean, you can pay the mortgage off in 12, 14 years, you know. I
Mark,
mean, it's impossible.
this is gonna get more complicated though, that's what we're trying to tell you. If this house isn't done in 6 months, like you said, you could very well lose your homestead exemption according
But
to
see,
our
how do I
assessor.
do that though when I already have the C of O for that property?
The assessor told me that if this house isn't done by December, that you could risk losing your homestead exemption, and you don't wanna lose that.
No, I don't wanna lose
So
that, no.
that should
I
be
mean,
an
I'm
incentive
all
for
in
you.
6 months.
You
know, I
lose
just
that,
don't
it'll be
want
more than
to-
all your permits put together, what you're gonna pay in extra taxes, so it's to your advantage to get this thing done in the next 6 months.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
not just because of all the other reasons you've already stated, and we've mentioned, but because of the assessing status. So you wanna really pull out all the stops and get this thing done.
I'm all for working with you, just like I said, one in
Yeah,
10
we wish
years.
we had people that worked with us.
Well, yeah.
Come out
We
anytime.
can't even get our
and bring
kid
your
to go
camera.
out and work with us unless we pay them.
Right.
Zach, you had another comment.
Yeah, this project's been going on long enough, it's been, I recommend just give them 6 months and then that'll be done.
Okay.
So, can't help it,
Somewhere you gotta,
gotta do what you
finish it.
gotta do.
Yeah, we met with him last week and to kind of get a status update on his particular project and where he was at and stuff, and reviewed everything and the permits that have been pulled and stuff like that. So yeah, there are several expired permits that have to be remedied as soon as possible. Get those rolling so we can get those finals. You're saying you can have them done,
Right,
but the
yeah.
first step is we've got to get those permits
Well, is there something I
reactivated.
can do to where I don't have to pay the full permit fee back again?
No,
Because
unfortunately
if the
not.
extension gets
The only
done-
way that you would have been able to do that is if they were renewed prior to the expiration, but since they're already expired, that's code, it's in the code, unfortunately.
Well, I didn't know when they expired. They used to send out stuff in the mail telling you when your stuff was getting ready to expire, but
letters still go out, do they not?
Yes, they do, but I can't
No,
speak, I
I
can't
have
speak
not
for the
received-
previous people that were in the office.
Correct.
I have not received any letters from this.
Well, we
The
know
only one
that,
we got was for the building part.
No, I don't even get that.
No,
All right.
we got that this year.
We,
That's how I knew it was.
we need to move forward on this tonight and make a decision here, so,
My recommendation is to state that this is the last renewal that would be granted under this.
do
It
you
has
wanna
to be
put that in a
done.
motion?
I will make the motion to approve the 6-month extension for this performance bond with the stipulation that this will be the final renewal.
I'll
Okay,
second that.
we have a motion and support. Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask Ron to do a roll call vote on that.
Do I need a roll call on this?
Up to you. You
I don't
need it,
think
we
so.
won't do it. All right, we have a motion and support to extend the bond for another 6 months with the condition that the home be finished out by the end of that 6-month time period. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Then we have another
Yep.
extension request.
Yep. We have another performance bond extension request for building permit 210019 on 13114 Dunn Road. You have the information in front of you, the status of the project. Notice was sent out on this. It looks like they're at the very end of their project and just need additional time for the concrete and final inspection to be done.
All right.
Is that
What job's that for? What's the address?
13114 Dunn Road?
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I know what's that,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Where's that at?
That's a house?
Well, this is for the performance bond. Yeah,
Let's say in a fine print there.
yeah, here, I'll give it to you.
How did you get no copies of all that stuff?
Yeah, this is one that came in around the same time. This was for this one.
Oh, foundation, okay. Yeah.
Do they need-
They reapplied to me for some, just a bond.
Yeah, this is for the performance bond. They're at the very, looks like they
It's
have
been
all
a long,
these,
it's been a long time too, yeah.
and they're at the end of it, right? So
Yeah.
will they be able to get everything completed in this last extension?
Should be, too.
I think this is the only extension that we've ever received from them, so.
Yeah, that was my question. Have they asked for any other extensions? This sounds like the only one.
Yes,
Okay.
from the records that I've seen, so.
Okay, is there a motion to extend this bond tonight?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? We have a motion and support, and I'll call a vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, moving on tonight, ordinance enforcement. I don't think Kyle's here. I haven't seen
Oh, he was
him.
hoping to be here, but maybe something
Yeah,
happened with the.
must have come up.
Along the building, probably,
Little one.
we had 5 new permits.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We had a lot of, I had a lot of calls the last couple of weeks about property and houses.
Yeah,
So, I mean, people are still gonna
we got a bill.
build.
Yep,
You know?
I agree.
And we got some permits pending in the office now, waiting for more information.
Okay, thanks, Doug. All right, roads, when have we heard anything? I haven't heard anything on the Limestone Hall yet, as far as date.
Nope.
goes.
Hopefully a couple weeks.
Okay, couple of weeks, all right. I haven't spoke with Brennan in a week or so, so I haven't heard any exact dates as to when it's going down.
Do you know if any of those were getting dropped off on Braidwood with the bridge yet?
Oh, the east of town.
The bridge they built was beautiful. My wife blew a tire out on a pothole right past where they built it. So I was at a discount last night. for a
We've
couple
got
hours.
some going on
We got
every
stone on
road, every single
So
road, but
Braidwood's
we're,
gonna get some too, that section will get some stone. We'll make
There's
sure.
definitely a very large hole, and as you just get barely across that bridge.
Yep,
and it's
and
rough.
wham, you don't see it, you
I'll
just
call
hit it.
Brennan on that tomorrow morning.
Yes, that is very true.
Right where they did the new bridge.
Right at the edge of the, south side of that bridge.
Okay. I will contact him tomorrow.
It looks like it's probably washed out.
I hope that's not caving in. $300,000 bridge out there.
Yes, it is, but it's a shame you can't hardly drive across it.
All right, I'll contact him
Appreciate that.
tomorrow, I'm sure. All right, unfinished business, number 1, firearms, weapons, and hunting ordinance draft. I thought we had a good workshop. Our attorney thinks we may want to have another one. What does the board think?
yes,
Yeah, so I'm thinking,
Yep.
we're probably gonna have to have multiple ones.
yeah.
When do you want to schedule it now? You want to have it before, at the beginning like what we did
I
in
think it works good before the meeting, does
Yeah.
for
the
me
June
anyway.
meeting?
Yep.
We're already here, so,
So 6 PM on June 13th.
okay.
Somebody want to make a motion to establish that workshop?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, we'll move on down and under unfinished business tonight. We have the Emmett Fire contract renewal. I've been to 3 meetings, I think, and we did finally get a draft of a contract, and there was some highlighted areas on that contract. One of them said that if any municipality opts out between now and the deadline of signing the contract, the prices there quoted are null and void. So I did talk to the Village of Emmett clerk today, and she said that nobody has opted out yet. Kanoki was the question mark, and she was supposed to hear from them today. which again will affect our contract price. I did speak with the supervisor from Wales Township. She had told me that they were gonna opt out. As of yet, they haven't done that yet, so I guess the contract price that they quoted us is still a good price for now. I did ask the village clerk to quote us a contract price at the advice of our attorney without medical response. Some of the municipalities that Mussey Township serves have opted out of the medical response most recently, from what we were told in this meeting. And I don't know how that will affect the contract price, but we're going to find out, because she said she would talk to the village president and find out, and the fire chief, and find out what the contract price would be if they just provided fire protection only. So we're waiting on that. We do have the contract numbers, or do we not, Dawn, for the next 3 years?
Yes, we do.
$59,486.98.
Okay.
That's a significant increase from the year before, which we were paying 52.
Yes, and I look back, this is a 3-year contract. All the municipalities that were there at the meeting that Emmett serves asked Emmett to consider a 2-year contract, and they said they would consider it. Obviously, they rejected it because the contract that we have now is again for 3 years. 3 years ago, when we signed this contract, we signed it at $46,000, and this first year of the contract now is $59,000. So all the municipalities are in the same bind, dollar-wise, as the fire departments are. They have no control as their costs are going up, and they just don't know how they're going to pay for.
Well, I think they're basing some of their rates off of the number of runs that they have provided for us. So off of historical data, how many runs, based on their fire run chart over a 5-year average, is what they've done.
Didn't you crunch some numbers
I did.
on the runs?
I did.
And we found some interesting information.
So, yeah, this wasn't in your packet. Sorry about that, because Pat was doing a great job of trying to get the data into it. This is something that we're going to do on an ongoing basis. We get copies of each fire run from each fire department. And Pat gets them, looks for non-residents, residents, pulls out the non-residents and submits them for billing, and then puts them all into a binder, and they sit there on the shelf. Now we're going to actually log them so we can actually calculate the numbers and do some analysis on the numbers. So we went back 3 years, solid 3 years, broke it out between the Memphis runs, Emmett runs, fire and rescue runs, accidents, EMS, and how many times Richmond Lennox EMS was on site as well. How we were able to analyze the data as far as like the structure types, how many of the calls were based on home and building, how many were businesses, how many were on the street, open land, and the number of incidences that have occurred at the same location in each of these years. Just make a quick note that there was, in 2022, there was 23 visits that were made to the same resident in that 1 year.
Same resident.
Same location. So, not saying that any wasn't needed, necessary, but just it's good to have that information, because these are the types of things that do drive our costs.
Yeah.
And if we can anticipate and expect that the increases of the calls that are going out, our costs are going to increase, because every time they make a call, it costs that department X amount of dollars every time they go out, even if they're canceled in mid-run, en route, which does happen. So this report actually reflects how many of those actually happened that were canceled. We still get billed for those. That still drives our numbers up. How many of those calls were EMS calls? How many of those calls were more fire or accident-based stuff? So I thought this information was really useful information in seeing how our costs are being affected. And if we continue with how we are right now, with both departments providing both fire and medical on both sides, we're going to have to look at other avenues of increase in the revenue to balance out. Because right now, the special assessment is to help defray the cost, which is typically like 50% of the cost between the township and the special assessment. But right now, it's actually more like 60-40, heavier on the township cost side than it is on the special assessment side. So we'd have to increase the special assessment to cover the additional costs if we continue with this.
Yeah, and that's gonna be very unpopular, because when we put that in place, that was the first concern of the residents, that it's not increased at some kind of point. So we wanna try to avoid doing that if at all possible. So I think we need to table this until we
agree.
get some other numbers and find out whether all the municipalities are in for sure. Again, the clerk said today, she told me that they should have a confirmation on Wales and Kanoke. She thought today, and if they're both in, then the numbers would stay the same. If they're not, then the numbers are going to change.
Yeah, because I found it pretty interesting, and I'd like to really have you also follow up with Richmond Lennox EMS, because when I did the report, a lot of their reports noted when they went out on calls, on medical calls, Richmond Lennox was already on site or en route on their calls.
Emmett indicated that, did they not?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So, and many times it might have been an assist, many times they were turned back or canceled because they were already on site. We do have a Richmond Lennox contract that we just signed in December for them to provide services in our area. So are we,
With more revenue, correct?
what's that?
They're also receiving more revenue.
Well, they're
now.
receiving the county revenue. That
County
was,
revenue.
yeah.
That
So
was sent
the
to us
county
and whatnot.
distribution that we're collecting in our township will go to them through the county processes. So that was passed on that countywide millage distribution. So, but the agreement that we have with Richmond Lennox that was signed in December does state that they will provide to our township EMS services. So, and that's a 10-year agreement. So, my thing is this is the cost factor in driving up Emmett's contract, because both of them are on site. It's a duplication of services. I understand there's going to be some instances where you do need multiple responding to a particular incident. I don't know if it's something that's, how often is that the matter of, necessity. So.
Well, Emmett did tell us at one of their meetings that 80% of their runs for Riley are medical.
And this report pretty much states that.
And they also told us that every time the fire station doors open, it costs from $400 to $500 for those doors to open. No?
I disagree with that.
That's what we were told, Doug, at the meeting anyway.
Yeah.
So it sounded extreme to me.
If you have 4 responders at $20 a call, that's $80.
What he might have been starting the trucks off,
Well, if you're gonna amateurize the trucks and all that,
Yeah. Did I see a hand somewhere? I'm sorry, Dawn?
I have a couple comments.
Sure.
Your building inspector just stated that we have new builds. Those are gonna be, more runs, more homes in the area, more fire department responses, no doubt. The other thing is, there's a cost to running a department. It doesn't matter how many calls you have, whether there's 5 fires a year or 35 medicals a year. That department, to run that department, has equipment, fuel,
Operating costs.
all kinds of operating costs that are not gonna go down if you have 3 calls now instead of 5 per month or whatever. So I just think you need to take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Did I miss anybody else out there tonight in the audience? Doug?
just to speak on getting rid of fire department responding on medical calls.
Yes.
I think if you would ask my neighbor right now what he thought of that, he would disagree. He would be dead right now if the fire department didn't respond.
I agree.
So,
Yeah, we do have those cases, we know that. So I guess, we'll just have to wait and see how, what Emmett comes back with on that before we can seriously consider it. But I guess some of the logic was, and this was passed along to me from our attorney, was that now that EMS is here in our township, where before they responded from school section, that the response time would be even less than what it has been in the past. So do we want to keep...
But they will not always be in the township.
Right.
We had a call Friday night where their ambulance came from New Haven for an auto accident.
Yeah, because this ambulance station here
Right.
on
Could be on
119,
another call.
yeah, could be transporting.
There was something in the contract about that.
Yes, yeah, they did
If
note
they were
that,
out of the area,
that they would make arrangements to send the next available.
somebody was going to cover
Somebody would,
for 'em.
yeah, they would have to,
Yeah.
One of their stations covers
Yeah.
for them.
Now you're coming from New Haven.
right.
So anyway, we're looking at all our options, and that's what I told the village clerk today. You know, everybody's at these meetings, all the different municipalities that were there are all saying the same thing. We can't afford these increases. We can't afford these increases, and the fire department says, yeah, well, we have them too, and we can't afford them either. So it's really a tough situation, and I don't know what the answer is. There was some talk about county at some point in time helping to cover with the local departments. I don't know how that would work. I have no idea if it'll ever happen. But anyway, there's got to be a better solution than what we're dealing with now for all of us, for the fire departments and the townships involved. So
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that none of the other townships opt out with Emmett, because then our contract is going to go from 59 to I don't know what. Yeah.
Another 4,000, I believe.
Probably so. So anyway, it's a wait and see. We'll have to table it tonight.
Yeah.
We need a motion to do that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make another comment. Please, I know you guys just got this today, but take some time and look it over, and, you know, because we see it, but I didn't really see it until I actually started looking at the numbers. We started keeping this log. We're going to keep doing this log as well, so that way the board has a better idea of the volume and the type of calls that we're getting within our township. It's a good data.
Yes, it is. Helpful, very helpful. All right, is there a motion to table this tonight, the Emmett Fire contract?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there support?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Fire protection dry hydrant project. That's on our agenda. Where are we at with that? Doug?
Just let Doug
You have more
talk.
info for us on that?
Well, I presented my idea to you last month, and you agreed to proceed with it. I sent all the information off to the engineering unit at the road commission and received a big fat no from them.
From the road commission?
From the road commission. They say they do not hang anything off their bridges.
Really? Huh. So that means there's none in St. Clair County? Wow. We thought it was a great idea. That's why we were on board with it.
They gave me a whole list of reasons. Most of them were kind of ridiculous. Like it would add too much weight to the bridge.
A PVC hydrant?
PVC pipe, yes.
Well, I think it boils down to all the engineers in Port Huron.
Yeah.
Probably. Huh. Who did you speak with, Mr. Hazelton?
No.
No.
Mike
One of the
Clark.
engineers.
Mike Clark.
Oh,
That's-
yeah, Mike Clark.
Can't you use a flexible pipe on that,
Well, you'd think they could use something. Huh.
or, I mean,
I don't know.
Instead of having one hanging off it, what if we were to put like a hydrant off the side and hard pump one in underneath?
You can do that. Maintenance becomes a much bigger issue then because the
Yeah,
end of
flush
the
it
pipe
every year.
in the river
Yeah,
gets
anytime the river
silted
floods.
over. And
Couldn't we build a structure that would go actually into the ground and build off of that, right near the bridge?
we can do that, but the cost would go up considerably.
Well, I mean,
Would high water
we
take
don't
it out?
have any other options though, Doug, do we?
Well,
I mean,
I think
unless,
there's an easement though issue that there would be
oh, there,
County.
easement for,
for the
PVC.
drain, for the bridge itself, and
Oh.
if it's over a drain or, you know.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rushing said he would speak to them. I don't know if he has or not.
Okay.
I haven't heard back from him, but
All right.
at the moment, it seems to be a no-go.
Okay. Well, we'll wait until we hear back from you or Commissioner or whoever.
So we'll take it off the agenda in the future until we
Yeah,
have.
Doug, one other question. Has this company run into that issue before?
I asked him, and he said the first time that they installed one on a state bridge in Pennsylvania,
Uh-huh.
they had to do some battle to get it approved. He said it took 8 months to approve it through them.
Okay.
Otherwise, they've never had a problem with
Okay.
road commissions agreeing to it.
Public safety.
Really surprising to me. I'm sure you were surprised too.
I mean, the only thing I could see their concern, you're drilling some half-inch holes in
Yeah,
there.
but even the information on that showed, what they do for corrosion resistance.
Right,
and
to seal it up.
the holes aren't going in the structural part of the bridge, they're going in the guardrail. So,
If they could come up with something else where it's just strapped to it, so there's no holes being drilled into it.
Still, yeah, it's
Gravity.
still letting wait.
right.
Yeah.
But still, less than 200 pounds.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Mark said about building something just off the bridge slightly. I mean,
But
those
we
permits are
would
probably
have to check for an
astronomical.
easement, and then you gotta check with DEQ then, too, also, correct?
In this case, I don't know if you'd have to go through DEQ because you're not putting anything permanently in the water,
That's true, you're just dropping something when you do it.
right?
Yeah, I don't think they'd get involved.
I don't know if this would be an option or not. What if you had like that device where it actually mounted right to your truck? It has like just a C collar tossed on the bridge, it swings down. I mean, you and I could easily lift 200 pounds, no problem.
Yeah, but then if it's iced over, how are they gonna break the ice to get into the water though?
I mean, there would be times where you might not be able to use it, but
Right.
those times have to line up with times that you have a fire.
Like I said,
Yeah.
that fire we just had
Yeah,
the other day, just that would have came in perfect.
yeah.
As I said, you keep seeing the trucks driving, half hour later they're coming back. It's like,
Water.
hey, you could just save one life. I mean, it's worth
It's worth
whatever
it,
the cost is.
Remember that when you're doing contracts and talking about medical.
All right, we will move on tonight then. Keep us informed.
Touche.
All right, what's next on our agenda here? Zoning ordinance amendment.
That's my other hat that I got put on.
1127.
The planning commission sent 1127 to the board to approve the amendments to it. Last meeting, we were asked to make some changes to it. I made those changes and sent it back to you.
All right,
Thank you. We did get it. I would like to table this. Thanks for doing the work and adding the definition to it. I would like to tweak it, however, just a little bit. I saw that the definitions that you put into there were verbatim to the act. I don't think it's completely necessary to do it verbatim. In that we can still include the definitions, how the Metro Planning had described them, and referencing the actual act within the ordinance. So that way there's a reference point going back to the actual act that took place.
If you carefully read that reply that came back from Metro, there are some
I read it.
mistakes in that.
There are some what?
Mistakes.
Mistakes.
In that, where they name things that don't exist anymore.
Okay. But I would like to table it and take a look at it, kind of thing, and tweak it also, and with the formatting and stuff to have it consistent across the actual ordinance itself too. So.
sure.
And bring it back to the board.
One other thing that changed along with the definitions is the title used to say nursery schools.
Right.
There are no nursery schools anymore. They
Right.
are a subset of what the title says now.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
All right, you want to make a motion then, Dawn?
Yeah, I make the motion to table.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and support. No further discussion. Let's go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, we have a couple add-ons tonight under new business. AYSO, the soccer contract.
Yep. AYSO reached out to me literally the day after our last meeting. I know. Their club has finally grown, so they've outgrown the Memphis field, and so they want to utilize both the Memphis field and our fields. and stuff. So of course, I told them get the information. I went over and dug up the agreements that were in the past and kind of tweaked it a little bit. Added a waiver, included the same information that we've had in our previous agreements with them. They already sent back the insurance information that I had requested from them. I just received that, their certificate of liability, received that back from them today, and also their signed agreement that they have agreed to. And I told them we would present this to the board tonight to get their
Just need a motion to approve.
we just need a motion to approve the agreement with Memphis AYSO Soccer League for the 2023 season.
All right, somebody want to make that motion tonight?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and support. If there's no further discussion, we will vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. One more item and we're done.
Yep.
Um,
This is a little last minute adding. Many 501c3s, when they hold their, they want to hold their raffles and fundraising and stuff, they actually need a resolution of the local governing body, which is us, to submit their application to the Michigan Lottery. Michigan Lottery has a whole raffle ticket and a whole process for nonprofits to follow. It's pretty strict, and this is one of the requirements that they need. So I'd like to read this motion that they do pre-do them, and I fill them in as I go. The name of their nonprofit is KPAC Classmates Promoting Future Adults, care of Lisa Cook Gordon, here in the back. They did give me their IRS. It's pretty strict. I've done IRS 501c3s before, so they do have their letter that they are a legitimate 501c3 organization. So at regular meeting at the Township of Riley Board, called to order by Supervisor Al Titus on May 9, 2023 at 7 p.m., the following resolution is offered. So the motion made by, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
That the request from KPAC Classmates Promoting Future Adults of Melvin, County of Sanilac, asking that they be recognized as a nonprofit organization operating in the community for the purpose of obtaining charitable gaming license, be considered for approval. That is the motion.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make the roll call. Dawn Beam, yes. Mike Rushing,
Yes.
Mark Baranowski,
Yes.
Dwayne Hagel,
Yes.
Al Titus.
Yes. Motion carried. Any comments tonight from the board members that are not already addressed? I'll take that as a no. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion at 7:53.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 They won't let me do it ever.
No.